over the board, I only play e4, sometimes knight f3. So like Hans is playing e4, knight f3. This is like I feel very happy to see this.
Hmm.
A strange move order. So maybe a move order that they're not so comfortable with. So
Oh,
a lot of people, stronger players, are using this against young young players to try and catch them off guard. But here we've transposed into English opening with c4 being played.
yeah. So we just got a bunch of just for people who don't know, the DGT board is sometimes a bit glitchy and delayed. So sometimes we'll get a bunch of moves in spurts, and we just got. So the opponent played knight f6, kind of mirroring what white did. Hans played c4, which is the English, and black plays g6, reminiscent of some sort of it's like just a king's fianchetto setup, maybe perhaps king's Indian, but I don't think it's king's Indian when c4 is played. So, and then now we just have bishop g6, simple. Blacks has their plan of castling quick and trying to play. What's it called when you play? You don't play in the center of the board immediately. It's something
So
modern.
they call it like modern openings or sometimes hyper modern openings where you're
Yeah.
controlling the center with pieces rather than pawns. So yeah, that's what you're sort of doing here with this knight f6, bishop g7, and you're basically just saying you control the center with your knight here on
Yes.
f6, controlling the e4 and d5 squares. So yeah, this is like a flexible opening from Hans.
Wait.
Um,
Am
wait,
I
what?
tripping, or did
Wait,
Black
what?
just give
Did
up a
Black just
pawn
blunder a pawn?
off the opening? Is this guy,
Wait, is this
bro?
wait,
No, I'm looking at the
what?
live board right now. This is the actual position.
This like actually happened? He just blundered a pawn on e5. What? Okay, I'm going to go into the openings database and see if this is actually like if this is actually a move. Okay.
Okay.
E5 has actually been played. Okay, but it's not that many times. There are 10,000 games in the position after Hans plays e4. E5 is played 100 of those times. So out of 10,000 games, E5 is played 100 of those times. And after the knight takes on E5, white has a really good win rate. Um, okay, so I guess it's like a gambit of sorts. I guess it's a gambit of sorts.
According to chess.com, the opening is the English opening Anglo-Indian anti
And
Grunfeld.
Tiger
The
Grunfeld.
double anti Grunfeld.
When you say like anti Grunfeld, is that like double negative? Like it's like actually promoting the Grunfeld,
Yeah,
like
so I guess it's the
anti.
Grunfeld we're playing right now.
Yeah, so you're playing the anti-anti. So Hans's opponent is just 12 years old, so he is very young. And okay, I think this must be some preparation here or something. Like I don't think he did just blunder this pawn on e5, but it does give white a plus point 0.9 advantage, though this has been played 100 odd times at master level. You wonder what is the idea here for black? Is it that you want to get a really strong bishop on g7 by removing the e pawn from obstructing that path? Is that what you're trying to play for?
I don't know. It beats me. I think this is just a loss of a pawn here, and like I don't think. What's the idea here? You're gonna play rook e8.
Yeah, well, the thing is, somebody says point 0.9 is nothing, but you say a pawn is worth 1 point, right? If you're having compensation, you'd expect the eval to be significantly less than one, right? Like, or at least some bit less than one. But yeah, it must be some sharp line or some preparation. I mean, this kid is definitely not almost 2,500 for nothing. So let's see what he does in this game. This could be some really cool opening preparation that we're getting to witness here.
I guess so. I mean, so what would you play if your Han's here? Would you bring the knight back, or Would you try and support the knight? Okay, well, probably maybe supporting the knight might be.
Yeah, so you probably want to play like d3 and solidify the center with your pawns on e4 and c4. I'm not sure if Hans's plan is to play like bishop g2 with like g3 bishop g2, or whether he wants to just develop normally. But I think at some point the knight can just head back to f3, and I wouldn't be too afraid in this position. But I guess there's maybe some sharp tactical ideas about to happen.
Yeah, yeah. I think this is definitely prep, and but the thing is, when you're playing against a super GM, Hans is a super or a former super GM, and oh my god, we just had a bunch of moves. What the heck?
Wait, what?
Okay, all
Okay,
right.
what is this?
So
What is
hold on. Okay,
what are we
let's just go
just
back. Let's just go back. All right. So we have castles. Hans drops his knight back. Black plays rook e8 like I suspected. Hans plays d3 like you were saying, supporting both pawns in the center.
mm-hmm.
Black lashes out with d5 to undermine the pawn structure. Hans takes with the c pawn. We have a knight sacrifice of the pawn. Hans doesn't take the knight. He calmly plays
Wait, you
bishop.
can't wait. Knight takes c5, not knight sacrifice, because the king there is a pin. If you're
Oh,
talking about
sorry, yeah,
knight
you're right.
takes d5. But yeah. Okay.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
Okay, so Hans calmly plays bishop d2. Bishop comes out to g4. Bishop e2. Knight b4. With what's the idea of
Yeah,
knight b4?
the threat on d3. So now the kid is attacking d3 twice with the knight and the queen, and there's a lot of pressure over on the d3 pawn.
Okay, so
So maybe you have to
we're
move the dark square bishop or something.
I guess we have two attackers on this d3 square with no defender, with only one defender.
Mm-hmm.
So he brings the bishop, adding a defender with the discovery for the queen.
Yeah.
Black
And
takes.
now the problem is like, because there is two attackers on d3, you can't take back with the bishop on f3. So
Hmm.
now you get these doubled f pawns because you can't take back with the bishop, otherwise you're losing the d3 pawn. So
Okay.
this is actually this I've noticed the move times, and they're both playing all these moves in like 20 seconds or something. So this kid came prepared clearly. So
Yeah.
maybe I was saying like the opening choice was a little crazy, but clearly he is prepared very, very hard for this. So I'm really excited to see what's going to happen. And
Yeah.
Hans is, yeah,
So Hans is up a pawn, but his king safety is potentially could get sketchy in the future. But he does have attacking chances with by pushing this H pawn, and he does have the open G file. So it's
mm,
just
yeah.
he's got to answer some questions, get his attack rolling, and this is gonna be a fun game.
Yeah, exactly. As white here, you maybe be thinking about at some point just playing queen d2, even castling queenside. Maybe not straight away because there is the knight attacking the a2 pawn, so maybe you have to deal with that first. But queen d2, castling queenside, and then going for f4, f5, and trying to chop away all the pawns on the light squares. This seems like a really cool attacking idea for Hans. So yeah,
Yes, this should be this should be interesting.
yeah, I'm definitely excited to see how this game is going because, wow, like, they've clearly prepared a lot in this game, and this is a line I've never seen before, and I'm sure maybe a lot of people in chat as well are seeing this for the first time ever. So it's always pretty exciting to see new theoretical ideas with gambits like this as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think like this type of structure could happen in a blitz game. Like this is something that I would imagine to happen in
Mm,
a blitz game. This is like I feel like over the board this would be something that's kind of tricky unless you're very prepared and very booked up on this line.
yeah, yeah, looks really scary, but I guess both players seemed really prepared for it. So I guess they've gone down this line before, or both of them have studied this line to some extent. Maybe it's been featured in some other high level games. There is actually, in this position, there is a master game from last year which followed this exact move order. So I'm looking at the openings database. There is a move order from this exact position.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so it's happened once before in 2020. So I guess this is some relatively new theory. And I think White went on to win this game. Yes, White went on to win this game. So maybe this is a good sign for Hans here.
Yeah. I don't know. I think so black has would you say black has the initiative here?
I'd say that it's actually I think that White does have some initiative, but Black has a lot of pressure on the White position. So I
Mm-hmm.
think the thing is, rather than it being like one particular side having the initiative in particular, it's more like it's very double-edged and both sides are going to be attacking. So I think this is going to be a very interesting game.
Yes, I'm excited. Um yeah, honestly, I don't know what could happen. There's so many different ways this game could go depending on what black decides and according to the engine right now in this position, there are the two top engine moves. So the top engine move here is knight d5. So bringing this knight to d5, uh,
Wow,
which
okay.
is interesting. I mean, okay, so you're trying to. I don't even know what you're trying to do here, but
Oh, it's 94, not 95. So you play
oh, sorry,
ninety-four.
knight d4.
Yeah, yeah. The knight on c6 comes to d4, and then you've got threats of the c2 fork on the king and rook. So yeah, hopping the knight into the d4 square could look really dangerous. And yeah, maybe you're right, and black really does have the initiative here because after knight d4, this is starting to look a little bit scary with threats on c2.
Yes, but oh yeah, I guess yeah. I don't know. Let's see. We'll see if black finds it. If that's like the only move that's relatively equal, the next best move
Mm,
is a5, which is +1. So if he doesn't play this
this
move,
gives
it's
the advantage to white, yeah.
plus 0.5 to +1, which against a grandmaster is like, you know, that's quite the sizable advantage. So for sure we get knight d4 here, right?
Yeah, I think that definitely at this point, the Andy is probably just trying to remember his preparation and thinking about what move order he's playing. But I think knight d4 is making a lot of sense here, especially since he's clearly studied this line quite well. And we've already seen master games following along the same line with knight d4 coming next. And the move for white after knight d4 is to play rook c1. And the one thing you'll notice about rook c1 is now that it looks like white isn't going to get castled either side. So we did talk about maybe castling queenside for white at some point. But after knight d4, you are forced to defend the c2 square since it's attacked twice with bringing the rook to the c file. And now you're not going to be castling either side. And yeah, this is definitely going to be a very aggressive game.
Indeed, it will be. We like it aggressive around here. We love. We. I think I think Hans, in the spirit of Hans, aggressive suits his style, and I think that he's gonna do well in this game.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, in the last few games, we've well, in the first two games, sorry, we've seen him play slow, positional, crushing games. So it's going to be nice to see a tactical, sharp game here. Because, yeah, the last two have definitely been like slow, positional, maneuvering games. Yeah, the game earlier today was also quite a long and slow one in the end game. So let's see if Hans can go for some attack here.
Yes, let's see. Right now, almost at 2 plates. I'm trying to be able to get to 2 plates, 10 reps, and then I'm gonna slim down.
I have a lot
Bulking
of
season.
respect for like anybody who can like bench press more than the bar, because really like I'm struggling with the bar if I try and bench press. So, you know,
Oh
I have respect for you.
With so many memes, I'm not gonna say I'm gonna get canceled. With like on the gym memes with girls bench pressing the bar or pressing the bar.
Oh no, it's okay. Like it's I've just accepted I have zero upper body strength, and that's just how my life is for now. But you know,
It's
it's okay.
okay. Because all you need is chest, right? All you need is be able to push the pawns. That's all the upper body strength we need in this chess world that we live in. So
Yeah, I mean, like, I feel like if I had muscular arms, maybe they would get in the way of all the chess pieces. So it's better to live this way.
yeah,
So we think the knight is definitely going to be heading over to c6, right? There doesn't really seem like many other options. Maybe you can grab the bishop on e2 as an in-between move with your d4 knight, but I think we're most likely going to see this b4 knight head back to c6 because you want to have this knight in the center reinforced. So I think that is one of the points of playing this way, that you get the knight in the center on d4. So this is, yeah, very nice.
yeah, but I think if the knight takes bishop would actually like if you play the intermezzo move, knight takes bishop would actually kind of help white out a little bit because then you can kind of nestle your king up and connect the rooks while also like if for example if takes then you take with the king and now you can bring your queen over to the king side, rook over on the open file, and I think that's just very pleasant for for white to play.
Mm.
And yeah, so definitely the knight's coming back to knight c6. It's just a matter of fact of whether or not they want to take this bishop intermezzo.
Yeah, I think that taking the bishop on e2 is probably a little bit pointless. And yeah, I agree with what you're saying. Like if you're taking on e2, the king can just come up onto e2. And since one of white's main issues is that they're not going to be getting castled, if you can sit the king on e2 and have the rooks connected, then you're going to be like feeling a little more comfortable if they're taking on e2 there. So even though you lose your bishop pair in that scenario, it's not too scary. So I think if the knight goes back to c6, it's putting the pressure on Hans there.
Oh yes, so we'll see. I assume he's gonna play knight c6 since we have a preparation Andy, mind the pun here, Mr. Woodward. So hopefully, maybe this 13-year-old international master is his pet line, and we're gonna be calling this opening the Woodward opening in the future. Perhaps we'll see.
We just might be. Yeah, I somebody in chat was like saying that they think Hans's position really relies on playing f4, f5, and I think even more so you got to get in a quick h5 because maybe if you wait too long to play h5, black can play h5 themselves and sort of close the position up a little bit. While it's still looking a little bit scary, I think you really want to get in h5 before it's too late if you're playing with white here. And also, maybe this f4, f5 push is going to come in handy too.